afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Afternoon Bell. My name is Ellen Desmond, and I work in the Bureau of Student Wellness at the New Hampshire Department of Education. Our team has been joining you for the Afternoon Bell via our YouTube live stream on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 3 p.m. And it's really just our opportunity to discuss with our folks in the community that we partner with and provide some supports for New Hampshire educators and New Hampshire families as New Hampshire learns remotely. You can find our live broadcasts as well as previously recorded sessions on our YouTube channel, which are probably on right now, NH Student Wellness. And we encourage you to follow us on Twitter at NH Schools and on Facebook at NH Student Wellness, where you can also find some live morning coffee chats at 9 a.m. and a wealth of other resources. And the department is also updating our remote learning website, nhlearnsremotely.com. So check that out for additional information about remote instruction and supports. So it's a Monday in May. So we have our partners from AFSP here today. The title of our session today is Virtual Programming, and it's that fourth installation with our partners at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Area Director Shamra Simpson is here, and our New Hampshire Chapter Chair Lisa Riley is here as well. If you missed previous sessions with AFSP, we totally encourage you to check those old webinars out on our YouTube channel. They're still very much relevant, not just in May, but in terms of all the work that you're doing and how AFSP can support all the programming and education that you're looking for. And so this afternoon, we're going to chat about the programming that's being offered online by AFSP. So as always, if you're tuning in, please feel free to leave questions and comments in the chat box, and we'll make sure that we connect with you either during the presentation or offline. Welcome back, Shamra and Lisa. Thanks for coming. Thank you. I'm glad you're coming back. You've decided to return.
Yay! We're having so much fun. We're going to have to take this into June, I think. Well, we have, had a lot of fun the last 3 weeks sharing information about who we are and why we are doing the work that we're doing. We shared some resources on mental health and COVID-19 and how to really care for yourself right now during this strange time. We have talked about our ad campaigns around Seize the Awkward and #RealConvo. And we just wanted to share some information today on some of our suicide prevention programming that we can offer virtually at this time to a group of teachers or parents, a church, your work. We can set something up individually and have a conversation about suicide prevention so that we feel comfortable addressing our own needs and then supporting our friends and family and loved ones who might be struggling during this time as well. So we're just going to talk briefly about 5 of the programs that we have available to offer virtually. And then we'll finish up by leaving our contact information so that if anybody's interested in bringing one of these programs to their area, Lisa or I would be happy to do that. So we'll just kind of jump in and start first with our More Than Sad program. We actually have this program designed to be presented in 3 different ways. It follows 4 students and varying presentations of anxiety and depression, because not every student looks exactly the same. So what's great about this program is that it's designed to follow those 4 students and be presented for educators, and then also be presented for parents, and then a separate presentation program for students. So it follows these 4 students, really teaches you how to recognize the warning signs of a student or teenager who might be experiencing anxiety or depression, different ways to interact with those students, to assess their needs and support them during that struggle, and then different ways that we can get them access to help and treatment that they need. What's great about the program being offered in 3 different ways and it following that same video for students is you can take the conversation around the program to different areas. So once the educators have watched it and the students have seen the program, you can have a conversation about the program. What did you learn? What kind of takeaways did you have? And the teachers can interact with the students about it. And then the same thing, if we can get them parents engaged in the program as well, then they can have a conversation with their children at the dinner table or at the breakfast table, talk about the video that they watched. It's about a 2-hour presentation for educators that includes 2 videos and a PowerPoint presentation. It's about an hour and a half long for parents and includes 1 video and a PowerPoint presentation that really focuses a little more on how a parent can support a student who may be, or their child who may be struggling. And then there's the program for students that really can be done in about 45 minutes to an hour, which is the video, and then a facilitated conversation that we usually like to also include the Seize the Awkward program, so that we can get kids introduced to more resources that they can possibly have to talk to their friends, and help themselves and reach out to their parents. So I just had 2 slides on More Than Sad. Before I move on to our next program, I just wanted to see, Lisa has been around with the start and piloting of this program. I just wanted to see if you had anything else to share. This is definitely one of my favorite AFSP programs, but I'm trying not to go on and on and on.
Well, I always have something to add. So what's really cool to me is that people always say, when you guys raise money in New Hampshire, what do you do with the money? What are you doing with our money? Are you doing local programming? And we do. We use the money to support local programs, but more importantly, we're developing programs. And I am just thrilled to say that the More Than Sad teen depression product, this film here, was developed with money raised through the Out of the Darkness walks. And that's the return on the investment. This is a program that has been widely supported by school psychologists and educators for many years now. It's a user-friendly tool during class. And when I was in upstate New York for many years before I came to the North Shore area and in the coast area, we were using this product following the loss of a student, to educate faculty and staff, support staff in a school community, because they didn't know what to do and they didn't know how to talk about depression and mental illness and suicide loss. So what's really cool about More Than Sad teen depression is it's really more about talking about mental health as health, and its goal is to teach students how to seek help. And that could be from talking to a parent, certainly a loved one, certainly a school counselor, talking to a trusted teacher. The goal of this film, this 26-minute film with the discussion following, is to teach students how to recognize a mental health challenge in themselves, mainly depression or anxiety, and how to reach out for help. And for that young individual to notice or pick up on a sign or symptom of a mental health disorder in a peer, and to get them to reach out for help. That this idea of showing what it could look like and showing what to do is really the main goal here in the More Than Sad teen depression film. I'm very proud of this project, and like Shamra said, it allows for sharing with students, but it also allows us to work with parents and educators on what this might look like. And it doesn't always present the same way. If we know anything, just like we're all very individualized, how we present with an illness can be very, very different.
This program also meets the requirements for the new legislation that goes into effect on July 1, requiring all school staff to be trained in a suicide prevention program. And this is an evidence-informed program that meets those requirements. The next program that we wanted to share with you is another, I think, fantastic program called Our Talk Saves Lives. This is an introduction to suicide prevention program. This is really designed for anybody that's really looking for some basic information on how to recognize somebody who might be struggling and engage with them to save a life. The program is a 45-minute PowerPoint presentation followed by an open discussion, and actually has several different modules to it. So there's the Talk Saves Lives original program that is really designed to give you a very clear understanding of factors that might increase a person's risk for suicide, warning signs to look out for that, let you know that you should open up and have a conversation with somebody, how to engage in that conversation, and some safe tips on keeping them safe, getting somebody access to treatment, or getting access to help, whether it's calling 911 or a crisis hotline or seeking mental health services. Then we have modules that go with this where we can identify certain target markets. So we have the Talk Saves Lives with all of that same information, but then with additional content on the LGBTQ plus population, the senior 65 and older population. We have this program with a firearm safety component that helps teach individuals how to be safe with a firearm in the event of a mental health emergency. And then now we also have a workplace program. So it's a Talk Saves Lives in the workplace, because according to OSHA in Massachusetts in 2013, suicide was the leading cause of death in the workplace. It's actually one of the top 4 causes of death in the workplace nationally. So we know that suicide prevention is something that we need to be addressing in the workplace. So we now have a workplace component. And again, the program isn't designed to turn us all into mental health clinicians, but rather to give us the tools and the techniques we need to know to recognize when somebody's struggling, engage in a conversation, and help them access treatment or seek help before they reach that crisis point to where we could have a more serious problem. Again, it's a PowerPoint presentation. It's very easily presented as a virtual program, and it can be done in and out in an hour's worth of time. But the knowledge and information that you gain from the program, I think, is invaluable. Lisa?
Yeah, I would agree. It's a quick program. It spends some time talking about appropriate language, how we talk about suicide. It does give basically some statistics, but it's not heavy on data. The reality of this is that we want people to kind of walk away from it feeling comfortable with the topic of suicide and the next steps, which are take a training, learn more here, or learn how to be able to present this product. So again, very easy for us to do virtually, and we in real time have often done like a lunch and learn or a bag lunch and learn, where we'll set up a talk, we'll bring some pizza in, and whether it's a church community or some other civic group, we'll do the training, share some food and conversation, and sometimes we get people who are interested in volunteering, and sometimes we get people who just really want to learn how to present this.
Mm-hmm. If your church or school or work is looking for some way to engage your community in some basic suicide prevention information, this is the perfect program to do that with. And if you were with us on our first afternoon bell with Ellen, you may recall that we had a slide up that showed that according to recent polling, 94% of Americans felt like suicide could be prevented, and that they would do something to help if they recognized that somebody was struggling. And this is the perfect program to get that information and that confidence to help somebody out in again, a 45-minute to 1 hour block. Another program that we have to offer virtually is our It's Real college student film. And I'd love to just hand this one right over to you, Lisa, to talk about, if you don't mind.
This is a product, again, everything that we're showing and sharing today is free. It's a free program. We will facilitate offering this programming virtually. This is a program that is actually the new and improved version of a program that was very focused on college-age kids that really just became outdated. And with, again, money and funds raised either by directed donation or, again, our money raised through community walks, literally helped us put this together. And this really introduces, and this is not vignettes, these are not actors, the individuals within this program, again, about a 28-minute film, are real college students, are students who are entering college. It follows their kind of transition from being home with mom and dad through that high school scenario into going away or just kind of taking that next step to autonomy, and how that can look and how that can feel in terms of the stress of not being around your loved ones or being away from maybe a treating provider. I say that it's real in a lot of realms. It's really their voices. This is not a script that they were following, and I think the ideal scenario here, it's a transitional film that gets students who are either managing their own mental health condition, or they don't have a diagnosis, but within that first year they're diagnosed with a condition. It's really a story about their own navigating the scenario. What's it like to be away from home, from things that are familiar, and how they each manage their own mental health. And it's a positive story of wellness and the use of resources, and how with peer support and provider support, they do very well. But it's part of their management. It's how they get through. Just like a kid who has type 1 diabetes or a kid who has asthma has to manage those illnesses when they go away. This is no different. And this film really reinforces that this is healthcare and this is wellness.
I would say that if you work with high school students that are juniors or seniors, now is the perfect time to get this video into students' hands. As you know, our high school seniors right now are so uncertain about what's going to happen this fall when they start college. So they already have, maybe some underlying anxiety of leaving home and going to school. And now it's doubled by the uncertainty of, are they even actually getting to go on campus, or are they going to be doing remote learning? And then even this year's college freshmen who are not having the first year of college that they thought that they were going to have, coming home the second week of their spring semester and finishing online courses, and what's it going to look like when they go back to school this fall. So again, it's a very short, about a 20-minute video or so, follows 6 students, followed by a discussion. And if you have a group of high school juniors, seniors, or freshmen, sophomores in college, we'd love to get online and present this program and facilitate a conversation, as well as provide additional in-hand or live resources as well. We also have a newly developed mental health and COVID-19 program that can be offered virtually. And we actually did this program 2 weeks ago as part of our afternoon bell with Ellen. It really talks a little bit about suicide prevention, our organization, and the work that we're trying to accomplish, and then specifically what we can be doing right now to support our own mental health during this strange time, and then to support the mental health of our loved ones and coworkers, et cetera. Really how to connect in this virtual community, and how social distancing doesn't have to be social. It's really just physical distancing. It's about a 30-minute program, and it can be followed by a conversation about what is happening in the world right now. How are we supporting each other, and really sharing some ideas and tips of what individuals are doing to support their own mental health. Some of us are going for walks. Some of us really just like time alone. We all like to share different tips, and I always enjoy having conversations around this and hearing what other people are doing to help me step outside of my own little world as well.
Yeah, I think we're coming back at the end of the month with this, aren't we, Sham? We're going to do a little sharing.
Yeah, so we'll be, next week is our last scheduled afternoon bell. Scheduled is the word. But we are going to get everybody back next week, really share what we've been doing over the last month for Mental Health Awareness Month, what we're doing for self-care strategies, and we'll be asking Ellen to tease out on the Facebook page a little bit this week too, to send Lisa and I pictures or comments of things that you've been doing, so that we can share with you what others have been doing to support themselves, self-care strategies, and we would love to hear from as many of you as possible. The last thing that we really just wanted to share with you today is that we do have some really incredible workplace resources that can be sent to you via email that you can print, that really support you, your students, your coworkers in, again, some of those self-care strategies right now during these uncertain times. So we have social media, shareables, and other things, and you can always reach out to us and we can send those to you. You've seen our prevention education materials, but again, if anybody needs or would like any of these, you can reach out to the chapter and we will mail those to you. Again, we will use funds raised through our Out of the Darkness walks to make sure that you have access to those, and cost is not a deterrent. And then if you're interested in any of the materials, or scheduling a virtual program, or having a conversation a little bit more around mental health and suicide prevention and what we can do in our state to reduce the rate of suicide and address some of the issues that are going on here, you can reach out to Lisa Riley or myself. You can always visit our website at afsp.org/New Hampshire. And I think that about concludes our virtual programming for today. So I'll ask Ellen if there were any questions on the live chat or if you had any questions for us.
Thank you. Thanks so much. It's great to just have another overview. I mean, I know these and I share them with, you know, our community partners and with, you know, our school districts. Nice to kind of the diverse that you're looking to educate. And the way that AFSP has kind of scaffolded that, right? Kind of starting with like, here are some little tidbits and things to consider, because this is a topic that is challenging for us to talk about and to think about, right? It can be really intense. So I really appreciate that AFSP has kind of rolled it out to meet people where they're at in terms of their understanding of suicide prevention.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
I feel good about the organization's response nationally as well as here in New Hampshire, that again, the majority of us volunteering, whether we're on board or just volunteering, are loss survivors or those that struggle with lived experience, or we're caregivers to those who struggle with lived experience. And when we heard this, you know, things are going to be canceled because of COVID, our immediate response as a chapter board was, well, what are we going to do to get information to people? We have this, it's hard to describe it. And I know that Shammer knows what this is. It's that just that need to reach out and save even just one life in any way that we can. And our board of directors and our volunteer roles are very much like that. And the first instinct was, what can we do? What do we do now? What do we do today? And I think that our national office has done a nice job to say, here you go, try this. We're doing this. We're putting this together. And everything that we talked about today, and even over the last couple of weeks, has been tried and true and piloted and rolled out again. And especially with the virtual stuff, we wanted to make sure that it was received well and easy to kind of sit through a small webinar and pick things up. So we are dogs on a bone, and we are so invested in New Hampshire. We really want to work with everybody and anybody, and we want to bring the programming that we know is worthy. Our programs are very collaborative. They fit into nice niches with other programming. And it's really easy to be on a board of directors like this and to be able to share content that is researched and vetted and, like I said, piloted, and it's just good stuff, and it looks good, and it sits well, I think, with participants and those that are in attendance when we do trainings. So we're just thrilled to be able to roll it out and bring anything that makes sense to any of your listeners.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think I mean, it's incredibly cost effective, right? Right. These are free resources. That's something that I know that a lot of our school districts take very seriously into consideration. And so to have something that's so high quality at no cost is huge. So that's really wonderful. I especially like and I'm interested in hearing more about It's Real and how that could maybe there's some kind of supplemental discussion points or something to what that's going to look like for students who may be going, back to campus in the fall after this hiatus. So it'll be really interesting to see if that kind of unfolds. If there is any kind of response at the national level to some kind of addendum to, a film discussion or something like that, or maybe even something more organically homegrown here in New Hampshire, as people start to use that resource and consider that, maybe some cross-pollination between communities who are using that film.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
What a great idea. I think she just tasked us with something, Shamra.
Who can we task that?
Can I give you some homework? Yeah. I do think it would be incredibly helpful. I know that there are a number of college kids who feel like their education was incredibly interrupted. And then certainly for our graduating seniors, how challenging to not know, and potentially not know if you're actually going to be on campus until, you know, July, August, maybe even a few months. You know, about closing ceremonies. We're going to have another session kind of about the ritual of closing. But I also think about, you know, the rituals of opening and that new beginning for students who are going off to college for the first time, and how big a deal that is for so many people. You know, whether that's they got into their dream college or they're just excited to be leaving high school and, you know, being in like a different academic setting, and just all of the, you know, quote unquote traditional or normal challenges that a lot of our young adults face when they go to school, whether that's 5 seconds down the street, you know, at a New Hampshire institution, or halfway across the world, or halfway. It's going to be a challenge for all of us, you know, I think. And so it's great that that resource exists. And yeah, so not to task you with something necessarily, but I know that it would be well received if you were interested in doing a, you know,
I think we can do that.
Pandemic, a few pandemic related adjustment questions for sure.
Sounds good.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us yet again. I really appreciate you presenting again. And Shamra, I'm glad that you said, you know, we're scheduled through May, but I know that we will have you back far more often than that. We've loved collaborating with you. So thank you.
Thank you.
For tuning in.
Look forward to seeing everybody next week with their mental health, self-strategy techniques, pictures, stories.
Yep.
Absolutely.
One of those email addresses right there up on the screen.
Sounds great.
Excellent. Yeah. So please definitely share that out. And we will also trigger some posts on our social media channels to drive some of that content. So we have some great things to share and collaborate about next week.
Great.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much. And we will see you on Facebook Live at 9 a.m. for morning coffee chats, and here on YouTube at 3 p.m. for another afternoon bell session tomorrow. For a list of our upcoming live streams, we encourage you to subscribe to our newsletter at nhstudentwellness.org/contact, or by following us on any of our social or all of our social media channels. Thanks again, and be well, everyone.